All right, welcome in. Another episode of Barbers United Fantasy Football League podcast. Took a couple weeks off, Thanksgiving break, and just busy and lazy at the same time. So, but we're back, and we have the reigning current number one player in the Barbers United Fantasy Football League, Lucas Larson, a.k.a. Book of More Moms, is back with us. How are we feeling?
Pretty good. It's always a good spot to be in number one, but I'm a little bit afraid for this week.
That's a big time one, and that's why we brought you on. So we're going to jump into that. Before we do, we got to go over last week and a little bit of the week before's. Dalton, you want to run us through these results, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of them.
Yep. So our results for week 11, we had the Daltonius Daddies beating Team MJ Burley 104-101. Jonas Only Fades losing to the Catalina Wine Mixin 95-109. The Cooper Scoopers losing to Team J Money 98-114. Blake CD's TDs beating Big Dub Shuts 109-92. Team T-Shet Ty beating Marcos Trap Daddy Thatcher 148-105, and Team JM Landrum losing to Lucas the Book of Mormoms 145-155. Then in week 12 last week, we had the Daltonius Daddies also losing to Lucas the Book of Mormoms 126-136. Braden the Catalina Wine Mixin losing to Team J Money 107-123. Marcos Trap Daddy Thatcher beating Big Dub Shuts 144-106. Ty Team T-Shet losing to Blake CD's TDs 130-153. Team JM Landrum beating Team MJ Burley 142-90. And Jonas Only Fades beating the Cooper Scoopers 150-142. Dude, can we talk about how high just about everybody's score was last week?
It was a fun week, dude.
It was.
Listen, and if you guys want to know the truth why we didn't post a week 11 video, it is because I didn't want to own up to the fact that my team lost to the worst team in the league, Catalina Wine Mix, and it was just depressing. So I just said we're going to skip it.
Did he have to text you a little bit? Did he get some trash talk in?
No, there was no trash talk. There couldn't be. What's he going to say?
He did win after all. Like that's the Super Bowl.
No, for real, that's one of those. You just screenshot that score and nothing else and just send that with no context. Like that's about the extent of trash talk you could have there.
I want to talk about your guys' matchup. Lucas, were you ever worried that the Daltonius Daddies were going to defeat you?
Well, no, not at first. And then all of a sudden, Derrick Henry had like 2 touchdowns, and then all of a sudden Tank Dell started getting a bunch of receiving yards. And like, what's up with Chuba Hubbard all of a sudden getting 20 points out of nowhere? Like, I feel like every week, no matter who I go up against, they end up like having a really good week, and I have to get 145, 155 points, and feel like I keep getting everybody's best shots. And unfortunately for them, I just end up having a good week too. But nope. Jake absolutely should have won. He had a 145. 126 is enough to beat most teams most weeks. So I do feel a little bit bad in that sense, but I also like winning too. So.
No, that's fair, dude. I was sweating watching the Cowboys game because whenever the Cowboys were on offense, I wanted Brandon Cooks to do well. When the Cowboys were on defense, I was like, please light them up. Didn't really happen.
It was never going to happen.
Didn't really happen.
And Lucas, you did it this week without really your Eagles, who were in a tough matchup this week against the Buffalo Bills and looked like they were going to lose for 3/4 of the game, and then finally woke up and took off. But really, without A.J. Brown and DeAndre Swift, they didn't do too much for you.
Yeah, they had back-to-back weeks with inclement weather, with some rainy games, and also too, like Devontae Smith started coming on, which is what he did last season. A.J. Brown, not that he took a back seat, but they just started giving Smith more targets, so he got more of the target share. And I'm a little bit surprised that Brown did like 1.8 points the week before, but it didn't burn me, which most weeks it should.
Let's talk about Josh Dobbs.
Oh, man, do we have to?
I famously 3 weeks ago came out and said I wouldn't be excited to start him. You said he was a top 10 quarterback. He dropped like 25 that week. Now he gives you 8 in games where you got to win.
Okay, he's still technically a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football right now at number 10.
But that doesn't make a difference for you when you need to win.
No, at one point he had -2 points. Like I wasn't watching the game. I forget what I was doing that I couldn't watch it.
Good for you.
In the app,
terrible game.
And at one point I opened the app up and it was like because I had the Vikings defense that week and the Vikings defense was at like 11 points. I was like, okay, that's solid. Josh Dobbs -2. I was like, what is happening? Like I figured
as low as -4.
Oh my Lord.
Terrible game.
Oh
absolutely
my Lord.
I mean, it just
like 10 to 12 versus the Bears. The Bears. Dude.
It's sad. It's very bad. So now he's on a bye week next week, and I don't know what's going to happen with him moving forward. You got to get a win. We're going to talk about it, but you're going to keep. I mean, what are you doing?
Purdy starting. Season? Yeah, Purdy's starting again.
You can keep Dobbs. Or you dropping him?
Dobbs is going to ride the bench a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how he is. We'll see how he is after the bye week. But everything that I've heard, because the guy who I've been following his health the most this season is Justin Jefferson. And he was at one point slated to play against the Bears. And then I think somebody decided like, well, why would we do that? We got the bye week next week. We'll give him this week, the bye week, and then he'll come back after the bye week. So the last I heard, he's coming back week 14.
You got to be honest with me. When I sent the last trade request for Jefferson, how close were you to accepting it?
I was very close. I was very, very close.
So the trade that I sent through was Puka Nacua, and DeAndre Swift for Justin Jefferson. That was my final Hail Mary. If he asked for Marquise Brown, I would have given him Marquise Brown too.
Yeah, hindsighty. I wish I would have taken it. But the original report was like he'll be out a month and a half max. So like I thought he was going to be back. What is that? Week 10, week 11.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't believe that I'd be sweating it through week 14.
Well, you are, and you need a win this week, and you're definitely not going to have him because he's on bye.
Nope. So I'm playing a very good team in tie.
So biggest winners, let's give some superlatives because obviously we're to the point in the season where we're right. Playoffs are 2 weeks away. There are a couple teams that have solidified their spots, but there is some seeding battle still going on, trying to get the bye week. And then you've got the bubble teams that are going to be in the playoff. We've eliminated 2 or 3 teams. They're completely out of it. So we want to talk more future, but quickly, let's rattle off some superlatives here. Biggest win last week. I think it was a tie between Jay Money and J.M. Landrum, 2 guys that have not been in the top 6 all year. They've been kind of flowing between 8, 9, 10, 11, and both get wins, both catapult themselves right into that bubble picture. John is actually ranked number 5. Yep. Huge wins for them. You guys
we'll go through the standings here in just a moment, but
yep. You guys have any other superlatives, biggest win?
No, I agree with that completely. I was actually like clicking through a little bit and was thinking the same thing that you just said.
Yeah,
I'm with you on Jay Money, but I'd throw you in there too because you're sitting at 7-5. If you had lost, you're sitting at a solid 6-6, tied for that last spot. I mean, your points, you've scored a ton of points, so that helps you out a lot. But if you lose another game, and you very easily could have lost this one, you could be, right there on the edge, and another bad week could put you out of contention, ironically, with one of the best rosters in the league.
Agreed. And I did kind of put myself in a bad spot with that trade for that week alone because losing that, I thought, okay, I beat Braden. I pretty much would have been locked in at that point. Yep. Losing to Braden, and now it's like, okay, now I have to win. Peyton did have a good week. Put myself on a little bit of thin ice there, but we skated by. So biggest loss, who got hurt the most? Probably Mark or Schutz, I guess. Mark is officially eliminated, right?
I think Mark's mathematically eliminated from playoffs. I'd say
6-8 is the best he can do, and there's already John and Ty with 6 wins. So
I'd say it was probably Schutz.
They both have lost 2 in a row, so that's a herder.
I think it was probably Schutz, or really it could be me for biggest loss.
I could see Schutz too because of the points. Like he's going to end up with the same record as a team or two, and it's going to come down to who scored the most points, and he is at the bottom of that list. So
he does have more points than me if we finish with the same record.
No, I don't think he does. No, he definitely doesn't.
Oh no, he doesn't. Never mind. I was looking at points against.
No, Mark has more, but So Mark could be okay to end up with the same record as some people because he would get in over him, but Schutz cannot. He has to have a game ahead. So, yeah, thin ice, obviously, anybody not named Mark, Braden, Lucas, Blake, and Marcos, and myself. Everyone else is on thin ice. So it's that time of the year. Dalton, give us our standings, and let's look at this next week.
All right. Our standings going into week 13. At number 1, Lucas, the Book of Mormoms. At number 2, Blake, CDs, TDs. At number 3, Marcos Trap Daddy Thatcher. At number 4, Jonas Only Fades. At number 5, John J. Money. At number 6 is Ty, Team T Shet. At number 7 is Team JM Landrum. Number 8, the Cooper Scoopers. Number 9, the Daltonius Daddies. Number 10, Big Dub Schutz. Number 11, Mark MJ Burley. And at number 12, the Catalina Wine Mixin.
So for sake of time, let's focus on these matchups that we're going to look at here. Let's focus on the 4 that include all playoff teams, all contenders. Me and Mark, I don't think there's really much point to talk about it. We're going to pick myself to win. I do need to win to clinch the final spot. I'll probably get in either way, win or loss, but
this might be Mark's grudge match, man. He comes out of nowhere sometimes.
But with him being out of it, and then Braden and Schutz is still in it, rooting for Schutz, but
yeah, Schutz should win that one.
Probably not. So let's spend some. Yeah, he should, and I could put him back into it. So I think we're all picking Schutz, but so let's focus on these other 4. Obviously, let's start off.
Look at Schutz's bench. His whole bench is on bye.
Whoa. Justin Fields on a bye, Madison on a bye, Adams on a bye, DJ Moore on a bye, Shakir on a bye.
He's done. His season's over. His starting look, I saw 77 total points projected, and I thought he just didn't set his lineup. He's projected 77 points. It's a Schutz. Appreciate you for playing this year. Thanks for coming out. Don't get last place, so you don't have to worry about a punishment. And we'll see you next year, buddy.
Okay, so and we can talk about this a little bit later in the show, but I want to go over how both sides of the bracket work because I think I figured it out just looking through the sleeper app the other night. But where this is my first time in this league and in like an auction style league, I didn't know exactly how the consolation bracket works. So we need to go over that here later.
Fair enough.
Schutz. Yeah. I was kind of with you, Jonas, at first looking at that. I was like, yo, he definitely didn't set his lineup, but like he's got, as much as I love my Chiefs, he's got Justin Watson at wide receiver 2.
Michael Carter. I don't even know if he's taken a snap yet for the Cardinals.
Okay, there's too many good things to talk about this week, boys. We don't need to talk about Schutz's roster.
He got 4 touches.
Run us through really quick the matchups, and then we'll obviously start with our game of the week featuring the number 1 versus the number 2 team.
All right, our week 13 matchups is the Daltonius Daddies versus Ty Team T Shet. Like we said a minute ago, the Catalina Wine Mixin versus Big Dub Schutz. Marcos Trap Daddy Thatcher taking on Team J Money. Cooper Scoopers taking on Team JM Landrum. And Jonas Only Fades taking on Team MJ Burley. And for our game of the week, the number 1 seed, Lucas, the Book of Mormoms versus Blake, CDs, TDs. That's going to be a banger.
100%. I mean, and this is big because they have the same exact record, and this very much could be what comes down to the number 1 seed. So, Lucas, the floor is yours. How do you feel going in this week? And does the 1 versus the 2 versus, I mean, the loser of this does, if Marcos wins, can potentially lose the number, will have the same record as Marcos fighting for the 2 spot. So the winner pretty much, if he doesn't lock in the number 1 seed, he locks in a bye week pretty much at the least. The loser is fighting to get that bye the following week. So, Lucas, how you feeling? And does any of it matter?
Here, Lucas, before you get into that, you lost to Blake in week 2.
I did.
Is this get back week?
I hope so. I had my heart torn the first time that I went up against Blake this year because I felt like I really had him going into Sunday Night Football with the Patriots and the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill coming off of a 40-point week. I was like, there's no chance. I don't have that much of a gap to make up. It wasn't like it was 60 points. I think it was like 30. And then Tua threw an interception and he had a fumble. And then the Patriots defensed. And Tyreek Hill did not Tyreek that week. he had a touchdown, and I only needed something silly like 7-8 points for the whole second half, and also had Kendrick Bourne starting too. And it came down to the last possession for the Patriots. They finally started passing the ball to Bourne, and I was thinking, well, worst case scenario, all I need is one catch for 10 yards or 2 catches for 1 yard, and I win. And the Patriots come up like 4 inches short of a first down to keep the drive moving, and that was the end of that week. So he beat me by like 1.5 points, 2 points, something like that. And Tyreek Hill only had like 13 points for the week, so he was very far under his projections, and I did not get the production I needed.
He was projected 19.2.
And Kendrick Bourne, I think, only had maybe 5 points.
6.9.
Okay. Yep. So
you lost that matchup by 2 points exactly.
Yeah. So if Tua hadn't turned the ball over or threw another 25 yards, I mean, there's so many different things that could have happened. But all in all, still, Blake's team had a great week, and he won, regardless of all the ifs, ands, or buts that could have happened for me. So now I have the top priority of wanting to at least get a bye. Like all year long, I wanted to get a bye. Winning 3 games against really good teams is difficult to do. So if I could knock that down to 2 games, that's a top priority. If I lose, I have a good feeling of winning the next week, but I really want to avoid Jonas in the playoffs. That's like, if I win, great. If I lose, it's not the worst case scenario, but I want to avoid going against Jonas in the playoffs. So
that's what we like to hear.
His team is really good, regardless of what his record says. And of course, I would probably be facing him right around the time that he gets one of his best players back. So I might be anybody really that goes up against Jonas with a healthy roster in the playoffs is probably going to be in some trouble. So path of least resistance is what I'm looking forward to.
Man, I haven't heard that in so many fantasy seasons. That makes me excited. So, dude, I mean, this legitimately is your Miami guys have a good matchup in Washington. Your Eagles are going against the 49ers. So that game right there could dictate your fantasy week. I mean, that's not an easy defense to be going up against when you need a win.
There's a little known issue about the Dolphins, and not a lot of people talk about it, but so many times the Dolphins have had the games under control by like midway through the third quarter that Tyreek Hill, almost all of his points for most of his weeks are scored between the first and second quarters. He hardly ever produces in the second half because come that point, they're running the ball because they have such a large lead. So what I really need, and this is where like the weird intricacies of fantasy come into play, where I either need them to be losing so they throw a lot and so that he gets a lot of passes, or I need the game to be competitive enough to where they feel like they have to game plan and actually throw the ball to him and not run the whole time. So it's very strange how you have to kind of pull for games to be close, or if you got a running back for it to be a blowout so they hand it off a lot. But I am very fortunate. I will be the first to say that if I win by a small margin, I will consider myself very fortunate that he does not have Allen in his lineup this week, and he's starting Goff instead.
That is a herder. I'm trying to think
Travis Etienne is questionable.
Do you know who you're taking?
I'm taking Lucas on the get back.
I want to agree. Now, playing the Niners for the Eagles does worry me a little bit, but
I don't think it matters, man. The Dolphins are playing the Commanders.
Yeah,
like there's a chance he gets 90 points from 2 players.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Lucas.
The Cowboys defense, they're going up against the Seahawks without Kenneth Walker, so they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. Deron Bland may have another pick 6. I mean,
please,
Cowboys defense could have like 20 points.
Please, Lord, let DK catch the ball a lot.
Probably will happen. Dalton, your matchup. You versus Marcos, right?
No, I'm playing Ty this week.
Oh, Marcos is playing John.
Yeah.
Pull it back up here.
Yeah, I'm playing Ty this week. I think.
Okay.
I think
you need a win, dude.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a close one. I do need the win. I need Brock Purdy to ball. I need everybody to ball. Really, is the big thing. But where the Vikings are on a bye, I got a sneaky pickup in the Colts defense for a whole lot of nothing. So, I should get some solid production on defense. I think this matchup is going to come down to if Zeke and Tank Dell are actually healthy and they're just questionable for like load management through practice. Because right now, as we're recording this at 8 p.m. on Thursday, Zeke and Tank Dell are both listed as questionable. And then on the flip side, McBride and Hall are both listed as questionable on his side. So who's actually hurting and, who's just taking a little breather? I think that's where it's going to lie.
Not to tell you what to do with your team or anything, but I might consider starting Kenny Gainwell this week over Zeke Elliott.
Don't choose Lucas. You know how to mess with me, dude.
What makes you say that? I just picked up Gainwell just to have like a little bit of depth if I absolutely needed it.
Look at his production against the 49ers in the
NFC
I'll tell you what not to
last
do.
Year. Don't look at his production from week 1 to week 2.
True.
Yeah, he almost broke like a 30-yard touchdown last week. I think that the longer the season goes, they're going to do some load management with DeAndre Swift. And he hasn't had a touchdown in a while. So he's kind of primed for some targets in the passing game, some rushing yards, and may even get you a touchdown. Plus Elliott is questionable too in the Patriots offenses. I think they're starting Bailey Zapp, but I don't know how much they're going to be moving the ball even against the Chargers. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it was a bit of a question. Really, I was contemplating Jeff Wilson in there for Zeke Elliott.
They've been using Ahmed a lot.
Yeah, they have. He had a good week last week, and they're playing the Commanders, so it's one of those that they may have 70 points and everybody gets the ball.
A weird person that's out too that's available is Miles Sanders. He had like 14, 15 touches last week. He just didn't do a whole lot with them and such. I guess he, just kind of got tired of him not producing and let him go.
Nope. I don't think I'm taking another Carolina running back.
You got to get this win. And maybe Travis Kelce on Sunday night giving you a miracle. They're playing the Packers. I can see it happening.
And Lambeau.
I actually don't love CJ Stroud this week. I hate to say that I have any faith in Denver, but they've actually been playing a lot better.
Dude, they woke up after they beat us, man. They just woke up.
I hate to say that. Now, that may backfire on you with Tank Dell, but I'm going to pick you to win. I'm going to pick you to win, Dalton.
Respect.
Sorry, Dalton. I got to go with T-Shet. I didn't give you enough secret sauce.
Yeah, I'm going to need another packet.
Let's go to 2 players that are fighting for their lives. Both pretty much must wins. Jake and Peyton, 7-8, right on the bubble.
Nope.
Who are you guys taking in this one? Jake's been hot. I think he's won 2 in a row. I believe Peyton has lost 2 in a row. Austin Eckler had a terrible week last week, and that's the only reason why I won.
But Peyton's lost 2 in a row, scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, he has. That's what I'm saying. So Eckler had a terrible week, or else he would have had a win. Who are you guys going with?
I'm going with Peyton.
Yeah, me too. He's got a good roster. He's just had a lot of bad luck this year. And the fact that Jordan Addison isn't playing for Jake, so that's going to affect him a lot too. Yeah,
that's a herder. But Brian Robinson has been really good this year. I mean, what is he? He's like a top 5. He is number 5 running back.
He's got the Lions' number 1 running back, Montgomery.
He's got the Philadelphia Eagles' number 1 wide receiver, Skinny Batman. I'm going to go Jake. I think Jake wins this one.
It's going to be a close one. I think we're going to have a handful of just real close matchups again this week.
Going to make it fun. And last meaningful one, Marcos versus John. Marcos, if he wants any chance of the bye, has to get a win this week. And John, he wins this week. He's not a lock to make the playoffs, but his percentage goes very, very highly up. And so I think this one's important for him. I don't see him winning. I'm taking Marcos, but who knows? Anything can happen.
He also got hit with buys at a bad time. He's got Saquon and Josh Jacobs out on a buy. So
that is brutal.
That's a killer.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Marcos. I think it'd be cool to see John win just because he has had so many high scoring weeks that it feels like he can never score enough, even when he scores a lot. So I'd like to see John win, but I'm going to pick Marcos.
But of all of your guys' group, between you and between him and between Jake and between Shots and between Peyton, the only one that really could afford a loss is John. He's got that 6-6 tie as well, I guess, but could lose and still be okay. So, yeah. So Dalton, to answer your question earlier about the playoffs, the way it works is the top 6 teams go to playoffs. 1 and 2 seeds, they get a bye. So 3 and 6 will play, 4 and 5 will play. From there, the toilet bowl, from there it works like a normal playoff bracket would. You win, you advance. You lose the first week, you play for 5th place. You lose the second week, you play for 3rd place. It's not double elimination, single elimination. Bottom 6 teams go to the toilet bowl. So toilet bowl, the person who loses the toilet bowl is who gets last place. So that's hopefully going to encourage people to continue to set your lineups, continue to play for something, even if you are out of it. So you got it. The only way to advance, to not advance in the toilet bowl is the opposite of the regular one. You got to win. Win and you're out. So if you win, you get out of there. You go fight for 7th or 9th place. If you lose, you continue to advance to the finals. I can't call it a championship game, but the toilet bowl finals.
Yeah.
Will be the teams that lose. So the team number 11 and team number 12, they also get a bye week in the toilet bowl, but that works to the opposite effect because then you only have 2 games to win versus the 7, 8, 9, and 10 seed have 3 games where you just got to get 1 win. So
I see. So in the losers bracket,
you don't want to bye week.
You don't want to bye week. You don't want to slide through the bracket.
Yes,
you want to get your name pulled out of it. I'm following. Yep. Okay. Cuz I was looking at the app the other night and I was like I thought that's how it worked. And I just wanted to make sure cuz it's one of those that, the way that you normally look at a bracket, it looks like, you keep moving to the right, you're doing well and you're advancing, but this way is the opposite.
Yep. Perfect. Cool. So awesome, guys. Well, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. We'll get you some updates. We'll be the 1 week before the playoffs. We're just 2 weeks out. And so super excited. So thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe. We'll be back next week. Peace out.